Hi everybody, Hannah here. Welcome back to episode 5 of the Data Source series, a series where we discuss a series of data sources, all of which are free to use. Today we're going to be discussing Referrals Database, essentially the movement of patients from one provider to another. Provider could be anything from a physician to a dialysis center, hospital, whatever it may be. If you find the video useful, make sure to give it a like, share it with a friend, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and make sure to subscribe to catch the next video in the series.
Hello.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, JP. How are you?
Good morning, Shanmugam. How are you doing?
Wonderful. I have a quick question for you today.
Okay.
So we are trying to identify target physicians and to actually understand their network better. Do you have something that can help us?
You mean how the physicians are connected to each other?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
There's a database that's not very well known. It's called the Referrals Database. And basically it's offered by CMS.
Okay.
And what it does essentially, Shanmugam, is that it tracks the payments to the providers by focusing on the patient. So for example, the patient comes to see you.
Okay.
So there's a payment that's done to you, that's given to you. And then the patient comes to me and I receive the payment from Medicare, right, from CMS.
Yeah.
Then you and I are connected. So the physician ID and the physician ID, and then the connection of the patient.
Right.
So we two were connected because of the patient.
Right.
So what CMS offers in that referrals database, they would tell you for any kind of successive visits, how many patients move from one physician to the other.
Nice.
Right. So from there, you can construct the connections between the physician. People call that, oftentimes we call it the referrals database, but I think a more accurate term would be like a movement, because it shows the movements of patients and then they connect the physician, and how by adding business rule and other stuff, you can build a network, influence mapping, spheres of influence, connection networks, and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know you have a lot of publications in that as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So can we extend this to identify, because the physicians always work in an ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
So right now we're kind of working on some like infusion centers or site of care treatment facilities. They're like CAR-T treatment centers. So how do we build that connection, the dotted line connection between a physician versus a drug delivery system or center?
Okay, yeah. Actually, it's the same idea works. You're right.
Okay.
So basically, when we say the provider can be, in the example we just talked about, it's a physician. We have another physician, but I could be a dialysis center. I could be an infusion center. I could be God knows what kind of care setting I am. And the system, the payment from CMS works just the same. So then you can connect the physician. So the patient comes to you, the physician, and then the patient comes to me, the dialysis center.
Right.
And we can connect them. And actually, we call them like affiliation. It's not a true affiliation. It's like a group practice affiliation, hospital affiliation. That's why we call it like a dotted line affiliation. So oftentimes for targeting, you want to be able to connect the physician to the dialysis center, because the rep comes to you to write, but then we don't see the result of the writing. The result of the writing happens in the dialysis center.
Exactly.
So to the extent that you can connect the physician to the appropriate dialysis center, then you can measure kind of the ROI of the rep coming to see you as a doctor.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So can we see an example?
Oh, I think the best thing is to show you maybe like an Excel spreadsheet of the from provider, the to provider, and the traffic, like the number of patients and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So let's do that now.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Cool. Wonderful. Okay. Oh, that's the example that we're talking about.
Yes.
The referrals database.
Correct. Yes.
Cool.
So we actually see the from NPI on the left. And then these are the NPIs that after visiting this physician, or it could be an LTT as well, people jump to the to NPI. And between these two entity touch points, how many patients were there?
So 21 people move from the from NPI to the to NPI.
Correct. Exactly.
So what is this transaction business?
So that's the amount of interactions, movements could be movements as well, right? So And as you can see, some of them are higher. So the same patient moved multiple times.
I see.
Right?
I see. Okay.
So, and that is why the average day wait between those two entities is lower here, right? And yeah.
So the average wait would be the patient comes to you and wait for a certain number of days and then come visit me.
Exactly.
And it's capturing the average time it takes for the movement to happen.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. Yep. And the last column is the standard deviation of the days.
So one is average and no standard deviation.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
So
and that database would tell us from it's NPI, so that's very convenient, right?
Exactly.
So you can construct and now we can understand which ones are kind of very connected, right? We can use the patient as the a surrogate for measuring the kind of the strength of the connection between the patients, right?
Exactly. So you can establish, like, that's how we actually have a use case for you, and where we measured the how the physician office is having a preferred dialysis center, and how the patients move between the physician office after they meet the urologist, right? And then they go to Davida or Fresnius, right? And then have their dialysis done, and then they go back, right? So this is how the movements graph is constructed.
This is the dotted line affiliation between the physician and the dialysis center.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we can use that kind of database.
Yeah. Yeah. We've delivered projects based on
that.
And
that database is free, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
And finally, this is the graphs.
Oh, beautiful graph, Shanmugam.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and this is how we identify which dialysis center and the physicians are more connected to, right? And like these, the blue ones are, and we kind of have red ones and blue ones to differentiate between
different types. Right?
Yeah, different types. Like if it's an independent versus a chain dialysis center, and how the physicians are kind of have a more close-knit connection. So
which physicians are connected that send their patient to which dialysis center?
Exactly. Right.
And this one is very clean. So you probably use some cutoff for kind of to show the essence, because probably some patients would go to one dialysis center, the other patient would go to another dialysis.
Right.
But here you probably took a cutoff and look at the most important ones.
Yeah,
right?
we removed the onesies and twosies so that we kind of focus on the high concentration dialysis centers and physicians.
Wonderful. So we're happy we have this referrals database.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Very visual. We should use it more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
See you in the next video. Bye.